Alright guys, so in my last video I kind of went off the deep end. I was intending on talking about something else. I was actually doing a screen recording at the same time and I never got to the screen recording, so we're gonna try this again. You're probably gonna get a lot of videos like this going forward, simply because I feel like I need to articulate where I'm going for anybody that does choose to watch my channel. I mean, if you're tuning in, you should know what to expect. So anyways, so today I'm gonna try to focus myself. That's very difficult for me. I'm all over the map. But anyways, so today what I want to talk about, what I'm looking at on my computer screen here, and let me just tell you, let me just demystify it all for you. So I got my A6600 here with the Rode mic pointing in between my two monitors. I have a monitor to my right and a monitor to my left, and I got everything pulled up. I got my Bandicam over here recording the screen, and afterwards I'm going to actually take the footage of my camera. I got this green screen back here, which I'm going to crop down so that I could actually take the green screen out when I put it into DaVinci Resolve and put this in a video. So I'll put my face somewhere, either at the top of the screen or bottom of the screen or somewhere when I do this video. So video demystified. All right, so that's why you're going to catch me kind of looking over here to my left, because this is where I have the information. So I'm going to try to keep myself on point. All right. Earlier this week, I got a notification in my email talking about the Milwaukee Track Saw, which Milwaukee fans have been waiting for a track saw for forever. I wanted one. I mean, I had started collecting a whole bunch of Milwaukee tools before I started buying any Fest-Tools. So anyway, late, but finally to the party, Milwaukee now has this track saw. So I'm just looking at the pricing here because I was actually kind of surprised. I remember when they announced the track saw, they was talking about it being like $5.99, and that was supposed to include the XXL sustainer, I believe. Right here on my screen I have two tool nut web pages, and on one side I have Festool, and the other side I have the Milwaukee. And for the track saw by itself, the Milwaukee is $3.99. right? But it's the saw only. It does not come with any kind of container to put it in, right? So you probably just gonna get in a box, you open it up, and then you just set it wherever you're gonna set it. Whereas the Festool, which comes in at $4.99, actually comes with a sustainer. Pretty much from what I know, all their tools come with sustainers. So therein, not quite sure how much the sustainer costs, but I'm sure it's close to $100, so maybe that makes up for the $100 difference in price. I know the XXL pack out is about $120, right? So they saved themselves some coin by keeping that out. So right off the bat, I have to say I have a little bit of a problem with this Milwaukee offering, because at $3.99, I feel like it's way too closely priced to the Festool. And the reason why I say they're closely priced, I know there's a $100 difference, but the Festool comes with a container to put it in. The Milwaukee does not seem to come with that. Let's look a little bit further. As I said before, it said that the Festool, or that the Milwaukee, was going to be $5.99 with the sustainer. Let's see what that price is with the sustainer alone. Okay, so with the sustainer, $639. So that is basically a $40 difference between what they announced it as and what it is, and that comes with one battery, charger, and the container itself. Now that's not a direct apples to apples comparison, because the actual Festool for $4.99 does not come with batteries and a charger. But if we go down and we look at the Festool with batteries and a charger and a sustainer, it is $6.99. all right, so right here we're looking at, okay, for the Festool, $4.99 for the track saw and a sustainer. The Milwaukee is $3.99 by itself, bare tool. The Milwaukee with the pack out, a charger, one battery, and the track saw, no rail, is $639. The Festool offering, it comes with the TSC55 track saw, two 5.2 amp hour batteries, and remember the Festool can run on one battery or two, and the sustainer is $699. all right, so I would think you're seeing here, there's a premium price for this Milwaukee. The only way I could say, you know, that the Milwaukee's kind of, you know, stepping down their game or basically putting themselves behind the Festool would be if they would have offered two 6 amp high amp hour or high output 6 amp hour batteries with that offering for $639. Then that would be like, okay, we getting in line behind Festool. But looking at this, you know, I don't know. I mean, now I do have to admit, the pack out containers are a lot more rugged than a Festool sustainer. So, I mean, take that with, you know, however you want to take it. But anyway, so as I'm looking at these track saws here, right, I just personally feel like the Milwaukee, I'm not saying it's super high. I'm saying that because Festool is probably been one of the higher end track saws, you know, Mafell being just a bit above it, Makita just below it. I kind of feel like, you know, Milwaukee really needs to hit it out of the park with this track saw as far as its performance to justify this initial price. Yeah, that's just my personal opinion on it. Now, would I buy it? To be honest, if I was all Milwaukee, I absolutely would. I'm very happy with the fact that, you know, as opposed to the DeWalt, which I do own, which came up with their dual-sided track design, my understanding is that the Milwaukee actually has the ability to run on both the Festool and the Makita rail and one other saw. I can't remember if it's the Triton or whatever, but that universal track is a plus for the Milwaukee. So you wouldn't have to just, you know, if you was coming from another brand, you wouldn't have to get new tracks. So that's a positive. Now, when I saw the initial reveal of this track saw, they said there was going to be like a 104 or 106 inch rail. I do not see that as being offered. I do see 110 inch rail bundles, if you will, but in the image it's two rails, and so it comes with the actual connector bars that you would use for any track saw track. I'm not a big fan of the connectors. I'd rather just get one rail and be done with it. But yeah, happy to see that Milwaukee has a track saw now. That's great. Happy as well that Ryobi even has a track saw. However, I actually did consider buying the Ryobi prior to this being announced so that I could do, you know, like a comparison or review, but it's super hard. I mean, after owning the Festool and the Makita and the DeWalt, it's super hard to pull the trigger on the Ryobi, especially after watching some of the initial reviews that other people put out there talking about the actual materials that is made out of. It just doesn't, you know, I can't do it. Now the Milwaukee is a little bit more of a temptation to get to compare and contrast versus the Festool. However, I am going to show restraint. I'm not going to buy the Milwaukee, not because I have any hate on it, but there's one reason and one reason alone, and that is that TS60. When that gets released, I don't know how much it's going to be, but that is going to be the next track saw that I purchase, because what it will do is combine the functionality of the regular TS55 and the HKC 55, which I own both, so that you can use both the regular rail and use the FSK rail, and then also you get a little bit deeper cut. So I'm saving my little coin for that particular purchase if I get it. I mean, I'm still a little bit, I know I don't need another track saw. I know that my skills aren't even there yet, but when I purchased the HK55 and I went to do a 45-degree cut on a 2x4, I was not able to, get all the way through like many other advertisers or different people. Well, not advertisers, many other YouTubers. I'm not an advertiser. Let me just get that straight. I'm not an advertiser. I think it would be very difficult for me to do advertisement, because when you tell the truth about a product, there's no human being that's perfect, there's no product that's perfect. So if you talk about both sides equally, then basically, you just coin flip it. You can't really make a decision for someone else when you basically just say it's 50-50. I mean, pretty much every product, with the exception of a few, some are just totally terrible, total garbage, but for the most part, it's going to be 50 cons, 50 pros, and it's just what's your preference. So anyways, that's pretty much all I wanted to put out as far as this short little video talking about the Milwaukee. And obviously I probably spent more time talking about other track saws other than the Milwaukee, because to me it's a track saw. All of the numbers and stuff and the specs, that's important, but I think depending upon what your budget is, where you are, if you're in the Milwaukee platform and you are diligent and just fully committed to that brand, this is a good day for you. This is a good day because you're going to have the opportunity to partake in track saw cutting without having to utilize another brand and another battery platform. So just going over a few of the actual features. It has a power state brushless motor, provides the power and speed to cleanly cut through tough materials. It has a vac port and dust bag for less mess and time spent cleaning up. I wonder if the port is going to be directly compatible with the new vacuums that they've created, which they seem interesting. However, you just threw the pack out vacuum right out the window with this. I don't understand that. And then you make this track saw, you put it in a pack out, whatever. It has the quick lock blade change system for easy blade changes. They probably adopted something very similar to Festool's Fast Fix. Smooth plunging action for easy plunge cuts. I mean, I don't know a track saw that doesn't have a really smooth plunge. I mean, I haven't used all of them, but the Makita's smooth, the Festool's smooth. The DeWalt is a unique type of plunge, but I wouldn't call it not smooth. Let's see, adjustable cam system to allow users to dial in the track to the rail fitment for laser straight cuts. That's all track saws, that's the way they're made. Riving knife keeps materials from pinching on the blade and reducing kickback. Now, the Makita does not have a riving knife. The DeWalt does, and the older Festool, my REB 55, has a riving knife, but the new TSC 55K does not have the riving knife. It's got that kickback stop feature. Easy slide depth scale allows for quick and accurate adjustments, which it looks very similar to the Festool mechanism right here on the picture. And then let's see here. Onboard Allen wrench storage for easy blade changes. Again, that's something that's the way the Festool is. Bevel stops at 22.5, 45, and 48 degrees. Similar features. Micro adjust depth knob for perfect depth setting. Okay. And then it's compatible with 1 7/8 vacuum hoses, so that tells you which vacuum hose it can work with. And it says Milwaukee, Makita, Festool, and Triton track saws and guide rails are compatible and can be used interchangeably. I think that right there is probably one of the biggest wins for the Milwaukee platform, is choosing the right rail to go with. And the reason why I say that, TSO, Bench Dogs, others, they make rail systems, woodpeckers. They make things like parallel guide systems to add more functionality to a track saw. And most of those technologies are based upon, with a few exceptions, Bench Dogs makes a rail square for the DeWalt track saw, but most of those accessories are built around this whole Festool, Makita, Triton style of track. So with them choosing that, they have already out the gate opened the door to being able to use all of those accessories, which, let me go ahead and just say again, going back to the Ryobi, with the way they designed it, the materials, so on and so forth, in order to get the same level of usability, they would have had to, from the ground up, create all the things that are available already on the market for these other track saw brands. And even DeWalt has not been able to do that. You know, there's no parallel guide system that works with the DeWalt track saw, right? If you want parallel guide system, which is why I ended up buying a Makita after buying the DeWalt. You know, I bought the DeWalt because at that time it was the cheapest one, right? And I didn't know much about Makita. And then, you know, once I got used to using my track saw, and I'm like, oh, I really like the track saw. Then and I was, you know, I didn't really have a table saw at that time, and I was like, you know, I need to cut bigger things. So then that's when I started looking at parallel guide systems and rail guides, and then that's when I realized I was left out in the cold by buying the DeWalt. I had no problems with the power, had no problems with the operation. It just did not have that ecosystem of upgrades regarding tracks. Now you can use the DeWalt. I ended up finding this out later. You can use the DeWalt track saw on those other companies' rails, whether it be not the Makita, but on the Festool rail, right? So, you know, if you follow my channel at all, you know that I eventually got the Makita and then eventually got the Festool. And if I had to do it all over again, this is in my Milwaukee video, I would have just got the Festool right off the bat. You know, curious about the Mafel, very curious about it, but you know, I mean, the Mafel is even more expensive than the Festool, and the one thing that I put as far as the Festool above these other track saws, even the Makita, it's not quality, it's not power, it's not whatever, it's the systems that they have attached to their track saw. Because Makita has tons of tools, and now Milwaukee has tons of tools. DeWalt has tons of tools. But when you start talking about, like, if you want to do an MFT setup, Festool makes their own parallel guide system. They've got multiple different MFT style benches and tables to be able to get to extrapolate the most out of that track saw, right? I mean, I know you don't have to match, but you know, I mean, like, I don't know of anybody personally that's going to go out. Myself personally, I know there are people out there because there's different people all around, but you're going to go out and you're going to buy a DeWalt track saw, and then you're going to go out and buy a Festool MFT, or buy a DeWalt track saw, buy Festool rails so that you can buy a Festool parallel guide system, or TSO parallel guide system, or benchdogs.co.uk parallel guide system. Don't really see people, you know, making decisions like that. It's you know, they do, because most of the time it's after the fact. Like with me, I bought one tool because I thought it would suffice, and I ended up learning that there may have been a better way or a more efficient way. So I've spent way more money than I had to because I didn't want to spend the most money up front or more money up front. I called myself trying to be more frugal, and in the end ended up being more wasteful, right? But it is what it is. So anyways, welcome to the market, Milwaukee M18 Track Saw. I look forward to seeing you guys' reviews online to see how well this device does. I was going to do, you know, purchase one and keep it, not return it, and do some reviews and some comparisons myself, but I'm going to save myself for the TS60K. So anyways, guys, thanks for taking time to watch the video. I'll see you in my next one.